Consumers here have been warned about a new scam which targets credit and debit cards through ticket vending machines. Gardai have uncovered attempts to steal card information at Dart and train stations in Dublin. People have also been warned to take care when buying Christmas presents online. Today is expected to be the busiest day of the year for internet shopping.
Despite improvements in security over recent years, ATM and credit cards are still prone to skimming attacks. That's where a device is placed in an ATM, which then steals the information on the card. Banks have worked hard to crack down on this, but over recent weeks, a new strategy has been deployed by criminals who are now targeting train stations. The scam, which was uncovered by the Garda Bureau of Fraud Investigation, involves unattended ticket machines. The technique used is the same as with ATMs, where a false front is installed and people's PIN numbers are recorded by a small hidden camera. There's been 3 known cases in Dublin over the past week, including one here at Booterstown Dart Station in the south of the city.
We've just seen these cases over the last week and a half or so, and while we still see attempts, the skimming doesn't really happen anymore at ATMs. There is anti-skimming equipment on all of those. We now have to look at these ticket vending machines and similar. So literally for customers with cards that are using their debit and credit cards, anywhere that you use it where you have to key in a PIN, assume that it could potentially be compromised.
Meanwhile, today is Cyber Monday, so called as over recent years it has been the busiest day for online shopping. Given the increasing numbers who use the internet for their festive purchases, consumers are advised to be careful.
You used to count how many weekends or how many Saturday shopping days you have between now and Christmas. Now it's 24 hours a day, the whole run up to Christmas in a month in advance. If you notice in the top toolbar of your website, when you go to the shopping cart, it should change over from HTTP to HTTPS. So think S, think security.
It's estimated that Irish shoppers will spend over €400 million over the internet in the run-up to Christmas. Paul Colgan, RTE News.
We're joined here in the studio by Una Dillon, who's head of card services with the Irish Payments Services Organisation. Una, thanks for coming in to talk to us about this. It was the Gardai that uncovered this. People perhaps are familiar in the past with these devices been attached to ATM machines, but they've now been uncovered in ticket machines in train stations and other effectively vending machines.
That's right. We've been talking about ATM skimming for the last number of years. We started to see it in Ireland in 2004, and really over the years the banks have done an awful lot to help prevent that, and the ATM machine makers are coming up with new solutions to prevent that. So while we're still seeing attempts of skimming at ATMs, they're just not successful on the criminals' part because of the anti-skimming devices that are in there. So what we're seeing now, unfortunately, the criminals are still around. So what they're doing now is they're going to other points where a customer might use their card and their PIN. So in the last week and a half, we've seen people's cards compromised at ticket vending machines and train stations.
And I suppose the interesting aspect of this is that these skimming devices can be applied. You've brought some video to make this point. They can be applied very easily and very quickly, as we can see, to a machine.
Very quickly. What we have seen on CCTV footage in the past is we've actually seen an example of a chap taking a machine. As you can see there, there's
it's a small little device the size of a matchbox.
And I think even since this footage was taken, they're even smaller than that again. They've become very sophisticated. The ones we're seeing at the ticket vending machines are pretty much made to fit the front of the ticket vending machine, so they just slip on. We've actually seen footage of people in a queue at an ATM where someone at the start of the queue puts the cover onto the ATM. Similar thing would happen at the ticket vending machine. Because they're open all of the time, they're open 24/7.
So this is an ATM machine before the stricter security measures were brought in, and it takes about a minute. I mean, I think it's pretty well complete now in just the next few moments. So the point about that is that somebody coming up innocently to a machine that has had that device applied to it, they're just not going to know, are they?
They're just not going to know. And what we've seen from the footage from the ticket vending machines is that literally the device looks like it is the front of the machine. You wouldn't know, and in fact, people who are trained to look out to know.
So then they can record the data, and that goes on a little card. And you've brought an example with you, just a little card with a magnetic strip there. Very simple card. That records then the information from your credit or your debit card. But then the key thing is they need your PIN number, isn't that right?
That's right. So what they do is they take the information from the magnetic stripe on the back of your card and they put them onto what we call white plastics. They need the PIN to be able to use the card. Now, it's not a compromise of chip and PIN. What they do is they take these cards to countries where chip and PIN hasn't been implemented and they withdraw cash and so on. So if they can't see your PIN, then your card details are of no use to them. So
there's 2 ways they could do that. They can look over your shoulder, or perhaps, and again, with some more footage to show this, they can record somebody with a tiny camera, punching in their PIN number.
Exactly that. You've seen the footage there. That came from a micro camera that is literally in a pinhole at the top of the ATM. So something similar at the ticket vending machines. Generally, they tend not to be in the vicinity any longer. You can see here, this is actual footage taken from devices that were recovered by the police, by the Gardai here. This is actual footage taken from the pinhole camera, which again, if you look up, you can't actually see the camera. But you can see how easy it is to see the PIN number as you're keying it in, because these people are not covering the PIN pad while they're keying it in. So it's a very simple thing, just to use your free hand to cover the PIN pad as you're keying in the PIN number.
So that's your advice to people. You're not going to be able to see whether a machine has been tampered with or not, but by simply putting your hand over the keypad, you foil their attempts to steal your money, because that's effectively what they do then once they have your credit card details.
Exactly that. They're hoping that a lot of people won't actually cover their PIN, and unfortunately a lot of people don't. So we can't emphasise the importance of that enough.
All right, there we'll leave it. Dylan, thanks indeed for talking to us. Thank you.
Okay.